In this video, I'll walk you through the fundamentals of depositing and borrowing liquidity in a pool using a practical example. This basically serves as a basic overview of how the entire DeFi space and all the DeFi protocols work. I will also introduce you to some DeFi terms like liquidation penalty, collateralization ratio, and loan to value ratio. So first things first, I'm going to explain this through a practical example. Let's say we have a user. So let's imagine this is the real world. This is a real world scenario anyways. And let's say we have a user. Let's say this is a Bitcoin holder. He has some Bitcoin he wants to hold. He is a Bitcoin maximalist. You know, these people that believe in Bitcoin long term. He wants to hold that Bitcoin long term, but he doesn't want to really trade this Bitcoin and sell this Bitcoin. He believes in it long term, but he also needs some Ethereum to maybe trade on other exchanges. What can he do? Well, he can deposit this Bitcoin in a liquidity pool and he can take a loan on this Bitcoin. And this way he can both achieve his goal of holding Bitcoin but still having Ether to spend and trade on exchanges. So how can he do this? So first thing he needs to find is just a wrapped Bitcoin to wrapped ETH liquidity pool. So he has some wrapped Bitcoin and he wants to trade it for wrapped Ethereum. What he does is, let's say he has 2 Bitcoin he wants to deposit. Let's say 1 Bitcoin, for simplicity's sake, let's take 1 Bitcoin to be worth 10k and 1 ETH to be worth 1000. What he'll do is he'll lock up this Bitcoin into the liquidity pool as a collateral. And let's say the collateralization ratio of this liquidity pool is 150%, and this means that, and this collateralization ratio is important concept for you to grasp and understand. It's basically how much collateral we want to have in this liquidity pool in regards to the loan we'll take out. So if we want to take out 7k worth of it, which is 7 ETH, we need to have at least minimum is 100% collateral on this 7k of it, and minimum of 150% Bitcoin is going to be $10,500. So 50% of the 7k ETH is 3,500 plus the 100% of 7 ETH. So you need to have your Bitcoin needs to be worth at least 10k and 500. So you can take out a loan of 7k. So we are okay in that part. We are depositing 20k of Bitcoin, which is more than 10k and 500. So this is the collateralization ratio term. This is what it means. If it's 200, then it means that you need to have at least minimum double the amount of collateral of the loan you need to take in. So let's say you want to take out as a loan, you want to take out 1 Bitcoin using these prices. Let's say you want to take out 1 Bitcoin, so you want to take out 10k worth of Bitcoin, and for this you need to have deposited 20k worth of Ethereum, which is 20 Ethereum. So to take out 1 Bitcoin, which is worth $10,000, you need to have deposited 20 ETH. In this case, we just have this amount of Bitcoin and we are able to borrow. So first we'll deposit 20k worth of Bitcoin, which is 2 Bitcoin. Then we'll just borrow 7k worth of it, or 7 ETH. Now we can go ahead and use this ETH as long as the collateral that we have deposited in this liquidity pool is more than 10,500, which is 150% collateralization ratio. We can just play around with this ETH, trade it on exchanges, etc. Once that is done, we need to repay the loan. And let's make this scenario where a liquidation happens. So let's say hypothetically Bitcoin goes to $5,000. So it was once worth 10k and now your 2 Bitcoin is worth 10k, which is less than 150% collateralization ratio. What does this mean? This means that your loan will get liquidated, and now you need to pay out a liquidation penalty of 7%. And this liquidation penalty is just because you failed to repay the loan and your loan got liquidated, and 7% of 7,000 is $490. So you need to pay both the 7,000, and now on top of that you need to pay out 7% liquidation penalty. So you need to pay in total $7,490 worth of it. And lastly, I forgot to explain the loan to value ratio. So what this is, in loan to value ratio is basically how much percent of your collateral can you take out as a loan. So let's take this as an example. Let's say a protocol has 70% loan to value ratio. This means that if you have $100 deposited, you can only take out some token worth of $70 as a loan. So you can take up only max to $70 in the loan. You can take up $50 or etc., but you can take up to $70. Let's input our numbers here so we can get the output in our example. Let's say this protocol allows up to 70% loan to value ratio. Let's see if we fulfilled this goal by depositing 20k worth of it and taking out 7k ETH. Is this possible? So how can you calculate? The loan we are taking out is worth 7k, the collateral we deposited is 20k, and we need to say times 100, and now we have 35%. So our loan to value ratio is 35%, which is lower than the required 70% from the protocol. So it means this loan is possible and it's going to pass through.